Alright, let's talk about a story that's been blowing up the news cycle this week. On Friday, June 27th, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, a Republican from Kentucky, set off political fireworks by demanding testimony from 4 former senior White House staffers. The reason? Allegations that President Joe Biden's inner circle covered up his mental decline while he was in office. Yeah, you heard that right. This isn't just another political spat. This is about whether the people closest to the president were making decisions behind the scenes, possibly without Biden's knowledge or consent. And if it's true, it could mean some serious consequences not just for those staffers, but for how we think about presidential power and transparency going forward. So who exactly is being called in? Comer is demanding interviews from media group, congressional hearing setup, list of names on official letterhead at stock at distribute_equally, Karine Jean-Pierre, who was Biden's press secretary, Jeff Zients, the former White House chief of staff, Andrew Bates, a senior deputy press secretary, and Ian Sams, a special assistant to the president. These are people who worked with Biden day in and day out, folks who would absolutely know what was happening behind closed doors. Comer's letters to these former staffers were pretty blunt. He basically said, look, you have critical information about who really made key decisions and exercised executive powers during Biden's presidency. There are concerns that staff might have stepped in to perform presidential duties, or worse, issue executive actions like pardons, without Biden's direct involvement. That's a big deal. If true, it's not only a breach of trust, but it also raises constitutional questions about who's in charge when the president can't fully do the job. One of the biggest targets here is Karine Jean-Pierre. Remember how she went on TV and called reports of Biden's mental decline cheap fakes and misinformation? Comer's basically saying those claims need to be investigated, especially given her daily proximity to the president. If there was a coordinated effort to downplay or cover up Biden's condition, Congress might need to step in with new laws to prevent this kind of thing from happening again. Now, the committee isn't messing around. They've given these 4 former officials a deadline of July 4th to confirm whether they'll appear voluntarily. If not, get ready for subpoenas and maybe even a bigger showdown, because interviews are already scheduled for late August and early September. This isn't happening in a vacuum. It's part of a much broader investigation. Comer has already subpoenaed Biden's physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, and a senior advisor to the First Lady, Anthony Bernal, after they refused voluntary interviews. The focus is squarely on whether Biden's inner circle told the American people he was sharp as ever, even if the reality was very different. So, what does this mean for you? Well, this story is just getting started. We could be looking at major hearings, new legislation, and possibly a new standard for how we hold presidential staff accountable. No matter your politics, transparency at the highest levels of government matters. The big question now, did Biden's team really hide his mental decline, or is this just another political witch hunt? Only time and maybe these interviews will tell. Stay tuned and let me know what you think in the comments.